All right, covered in foam. Some information for me, and that's what the battery looks like inside the box. All right, inside the box there is foam on the bottom side, and of course we have the silica, you know, the stuff that you're not supposed to eat. What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the channel. All right, today's video we're going to be doing a review on a 12 volt 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery from, I don't know how to pronounce it. It might be Vatrer or Vatrer. I'm going to call it a Vatrer. Anyway, today's video we're going to be doing a full review on this 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery, and what that's going to entail is a closer look. We'll probably do two different capacity tests, one at 0.2C, which is 20 amps, and then another one at 0.5C or 50 amps, and then we'll probably throw a couple higher loads at it just to see what happens. That'll probably just be a space heater. And then after that we're probably going to do something I haven't seen on anybody else's channel or videos, which was actually recommended. Something that I do is do a drop test on a battery. So we're going to drop the battery and see what happens, which of course I would hate to do because it's most likely going to be a working battery. However, if we want to test the low temperature protection, I'm not going to put this in my freezer for however long it's going to take to freeze the battery to test that. So, you know, obviously we're going to rip it apart to test that. And then of course, once we rip it apart, we'll take a closer look, you know, what's inside. And of course, at any time, if you don't want to see my beautiful face or hear my voice, which you'll have to do, I'm going to have chapters down in the timeline so you can skip around if you need to. All right, let's get to it. All right, we did get a bag with a manual. Came with two M8 bolts with a flat washer and a lock washer and a positive and negative cover. And I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce this. It's either Vatrer or Vatrer. It says low temperature cutoff protection for charge and discharge. The 12 volt battery, lithium iron phosphate, 100 amp hour. And I guess you can get these in 200 amp hours as well. All right, so over on the battery, we'll start with the dimensions for all the people in the United States. So it is about 13 1/8 inches wide, 6 3/4 inches thick, and about 8 3/4 inches tall. Looks like we do have a removable nylon strap, which I'm probably too much of a weenie to get it out. Nope, there we go. We do have a removable nylon strap if you want to remove it. All right, on the top of the battery, obviously you got their logo here. You probably don't want to submerge it in water, set it on fire. It's recyclable, don't throw it in the regular trash. Specifications right over here. Model number is LM12100. Like I said before, it's lithium iron phosphate. It's 12.8 volts, 100 amp hours, or 1,280 watt hours. Charge voltage is 14.2 to 14.6. Max charge current is 100 amps and max discharge current is 100 amps. And then right below that, we got your negative and positive posts. And they do have these little covers in here right now. Also, these are marked right on the case. I don't know if you can see it in the video or not. These appear to maybe be aluminum, but we'll find out a little bit later. And if they are aluminum, definitely be careful whenever you tighten down your bolts. All right, I'm not exactly sure what these are made out of. I'm just gonna do like a little scratch test to try to determine what it actually is. It doesn't seem as soft as aluminum, but it looks aluminum. So I can scratch it real easy, but maybe it's just like a coated brass. Okay, so there you go. On the front, it's almost the exact same information that's on top. We just kind of rotate it around. There's not really much else to see. On the bottom, there's really nothing other than the little corner raised edges. That's about it. And it is pretty light. All right, so all the information up here is pretty much the same as it's on top of the battery. However, you get a life cycle right here, 2,000 cycles at 100% DOD. That's basically charging it fully charged and then draining it all the way down to 0. You'll get roughly 2,000 cycles. If you only do 80% range, you should get around 5,000 cycles. The weight is 11 kilograms or 24.2 pounds. All this is the same except for the recommended charge current, which is 20 amps or 0.2 C, which we will test at those numbers right there. All right, so the operating temperature range, these are kind of important, well, at least for some people. Charging 0 to 50 C or 32 to 122 degrees Fahrenheit. So the important one is the low temperature cutoff protection. You don't want to charge your batteries whenever they're cold because you'll ruin them. All right, temperature range is 0 degrees C, which is 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and they do have a plus or minus there. It says 4 degrees C there, 39.2. So there's a few degrees difference there, you know, and that's just because of electronics. All right, low temperature cutoff protection if you're discharging in really cold weather, if you get below minus 20 C, or minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit, it should cut your discharge around those temperatures. Waterproof class is IP65. All right, and then there's a bunch of other information in here if you wanted to go through there. All right. Oh, also in here you can do parallel and series connection, so you can do 4 in series or 10 in parallel. So, you know, you can add quite a few batteries if you wanted to. All right. There we go. All right, we're gonna check the voltage real quick just to see what it is whenever it first arrives. All right, so my battery came in at 13.19 volts. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do real quick is recharge the battery and then we will start the capacity test. All right, we got her hooked up to the Powerwaller 12 volt inverter and a Victron Smart Shunt, and we are currently charging at 20 amps. All right, so once this is charged back up, we'll start the capacity test. All right, we're getting ready to start the capacity test on the Vatrer lithium iron phosphate 12 volt 100 amp hour battery. We're gonna be doing a 0.2 C discharge test with a couple of light bulbs over here. One of them is 150 watts and the other one is 100 watts. At this moment, I'm just using the little bench power supply to basically top it off. But anyway, I'm gonna plug in the inverter first. All right, turn on the inverter. Light bulbs are going to turn on over there in just a second. Move the power supply. All right, so that is off. Time now is 4:59 p.m. and this should take roughly 5 hours. All right, we're going to let the test begin right now. All right, so we're starting off at 13.76 volts and we're drawing roughly 20.43 amps. Again, as the voltage of the battery drops, the amps are going to go up, but this is as close as I can get. All right, so I will see you in about 5 hours. Boom! Look at that. We did reach the 100 amp hour mark, and we're still going. All right, and it's probably going to shut off here real quick, but right up here for the energy is 1.3 kilowatt hours, so not too bad. All right, there we go. Inverter just shut off. Look at that, 100.5 amp hours. Nice. All right, so in here we did 1.3 kilowatt hours. Alrighty, now we're actually probably higher than that because we have an external shunt and the BMS and stuff is inside, and usually the BMS creates heat, which consumes some energy. So from tests that I've done in the past, it's usually around, I don't know, 2 to 4 amp hours. So we're actually probably closer to the 105 amp hour mark. But obviously we can't test that very well because the BMS is inside. All right, I'll get this charged up and we'll do the next test. All right, it's actually the very next day and we got the battery all charged up. So what we're gonna do now is try to do a 0.5 C or 50 amps discharge or capacity test. I'm not going to be quite at 50 amps. I think it's going to start off around 45, 46 amps, but as the battery voltage drops, you know, the amps are going to go up. So the only thing I did different was just added a few more light bulbs over there. I think there's 3 150 watt light bulbs and 1 100 watt light bulb. All right, so battery is completely full charge, and let me reset the history over here and we'll start the test again. All right, as you can see right now we're sitting at 14 volts, 0 amps, 0 watts, 0 amp hours consumed. All right, light bulbs are on. Gonna unplug the inverter. Capacity test starts right now. So if you can see on the screen right now, we're pulling, roughly 45 amps. And like I said before, As the voltage of the battery goes down, that will go up. This should take roughly, I don't know, 2 hours or so. So I will see you in just a second.
A little later.
A short time later, and I actually just missed the end. However, I can show you right down here, we got 100.1 amp hours, and if we go over to the history, that is 1.2 kilowatt hours. So just over the 100 amp hour mark, which we're supposed to get. I'm gonna recharge the battery one more time, and then we might throw some 100 amp loads at it and just make sure it can handle it. All right, we are full charge now. Battery voltage is 13.38 volts. All right, so what I wanna do now is plug in a couple of heaters just for like a high discharge test to see what happens. I don't know, maybe somebody is in an emergency situation and they need to plug in a space heater to keep warm. You know, will it actually do that? I don't know, let's find out. We're not plugged into the grid or anything like that, okay? And of course, since I don't have a screen capture for this little tiny phone screen, I have to bring it up here so you guys can see it, if it'll focus. All right, we're gonna do the heater on low. And that's pulling around 68 amps, all right? And it does that no problem. I'll just let that run for a couple of minutes. I'm gonna turn that around so I don't get too hot. All right, so it does that no problem. If you needed to use a heater in an emergency, you could last a little over an hour, maybe hour 15. All right, so we'll go to the high setting. I don't know how well it'll do. And we're drawing 147 amps. I don't know how long that'll last, but we'll just let it go and see what happens. All right, there you go. So it can handle a space heater. Again, if you're using it in an emergency and you needed to keep warm for a little while, it wouldn't last very long. You could use a low setting, you know, a little over an hour. All right, next part of the video is we're gonna be doing a drop test on this battery, which I honestly can't say I've seen anybody else do. So we're gonna do that here. Why would we really wanna drop this battery? Well, I don't really have a good reason other than science.
Yes, science!
So don't do this at home unless you wanna ruin your battery. There's probably a million different reasons why a battery is dropped. Personally, I've never dropped a battery, but some of the things that I could think of is maybe you're carrying a box and you just happen to not see your battery on your bench. Set the box down and the battery just goes right off the edge. Maybe you're carrying it by the handle on top and it just slips out of your hands. And of course, the only real reason why this would fall off your bench is if you have a cat and he says, meow. And another thing that I've noticed with other people's videos and them taking apart batteries similar to this is it seems like there's always protection along all the sides and possibly on the top. However, on the bottom side, there's usually nothing down here. If we drop it on the bottom side, will we dent a cell? Will we crack the case? I don't know. If we drop it on a corner, will it break the corner and damage the cell? Same thing for the side or the top. If we damage those, will we damage the cells? I don't know. I would hate to destroy the battery, but if we were going to test the low temperature protection that it might have, we would have to destroy the battery anyway, because honestly, I'm not gonna put this in my refrigerator for however long it would take to get it cold. So what we would normally do is rip it open, take a look inside, and then test the protection parameters. So probably how this is actually gonna go is we'll probably do a couple different drop tests. First one, we'll just grab it by the handle and let go. It's probably gonna drop maybe around a foot. And then I'll set up like a makeshift workbench outside, and then we'll just kind of push it off and see what happens. If it survives that, maybe I'll try one more drop test, maybe on a corner, and we'll see what that does. And then if it doesn't release all its magic smoke, we'll take it apart. Actually, we'll take it apart regardless. And then if it magically still works after all that, then we'll check the low temperature protection. Okay, let's get to it. All right, first is gonna be the drop test from the handle, and we'll just get an average height of what this is right here, okay? And we're sitting roughly 14 or so inches off the ground. All right, here is drop test number 1. Just a couple of scuff marks, and that's about it. Nothing sounds loose on the inside or anything like that. All right. All right, here's the makeshift bench. Obviously it's just a couple of these sawhorses with some 2x4s on there. And we're just gonna push it right off the edge of the 2x4s here onto the ground. We're sitting right around 33 3/4 inches, okay? Put something on a bench and didn't see this gate here. All right, well, nothing sounds loose or broken. Oh, I do have a little bit of I've got a couple little cracks on that corner there. But honestly, it did pretty good. I'll bring this over so you can see it. All right, so we do have a nice little dent or gouge there, and it looks like there's a little tiny crack coming off of that corner. And it also looks like we have one crack right there. I think this is the brunt of the landing right there. You know, just some other scrapes and stuff right here. Just scratches and stuff from the very first drop. Other than that, I don't think that's it. Just some other scratches and stuff. All right, there you go. Not too bad. Well, for one, it landed right side up like a cat. All right, so there you go. We just attempted to break it one more time. All right, again, I don't think the crack here or there got any bigger. I mean, surprisingly, it's doing really good. It's doing better than I thought it was gonna do. Yeah, I don't see anything extra on the bottom. So we're gonna drop it on a corner now. All right, here we go. All right, that actually did really good. I'm surprised. All right, there you go. I'm pretty sure that was directly on a corner. I don't see anything wrong there. Let me shake it for you. Nothing sounds loose in there or anything like that. So I would say, wow, it held up pretty darn good. All right, all in all, I would say it did pretty good. We can do this in real time now if you want with sound. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Oh, I cracked it this time. All right, I don't know how many we're actually at now. That could be 5 or 6 drops, and we finally cracked it. All right, so we have a crack underneath the sticker over here. Goes all the way around, down towards the bottom, and kind of ends right here. So all in all, I would say that did, well, absolutely fantastic. Pretty sure that's the only one. Yeah, that's the only one. All right, so there you go. I guess if you, obviously you probably wouldn't want to use it, but if you had to, maybe we could just pop that back in, you know, and re-glue it or something. I don't know, but we're probably gonna take it apart now and do the cold temperature test. All right, there you go, the Vatrer. Honestly, after all of those drops, I don't know how many it was, 5 or 6, I would say it did fan-freaking-tastic. I mean, yeah, that's pretty bad right there. I mean, that's really the extent of it. I mean, there's little scrapes and all that kind of stuff in other places, but that's it. I mean, even the top, I don't think is loose at all. I guess we'll find out here in a second, but yeah, that is not bad at all. Let's take a better look here. All right, so there is some foam on the very, very bottom, so that's good. All right, let me break this open. All right, so there is foam on that bottom side, just FYI. So there's the heat shrink that I put around the cells, but it looks like there's some, you know, fiberglass board surrounding it. But let's get this thing open and take a closer look. All right, just verifying this didn't come loose up here. It did not. I'm breaking the seal right now. Yeah, I'm breaking the glue right now. So the top portion did not come loose, just FYI. There we go. All right, there we go. Got her open. All right, so positive, negative. They got the positive and negative terminals all siliconed up, so that's good. We do have some, I don't know, thermal wrapping on the wires. I'm not sure what that's rated at. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I meant to check the battery voltage real quick. Let's do that. All right, so at this current moment, yes, it does work. 13.28 volts. Perfect. All right, got the bolt out of there, and if you care, there's a flat washer and a lock washer. Got a nice big terminal on there. Underneath here, we have 4 wires, and those are 10 AWG. Of course, they're the silicone insulated, so they're rated for 200 degrees C, and it is a crimped lug right there, okay? Now let's try to get this battery out of here. All right, just from me pulling on it, it doesn't want to come out. It's got the glue on both sides of the foam, so on the case and on the blue wrapping here, which kind of keeps it in place. So let me get this all the way out if I can. We're getting it. There we go. All right, there we go. We got it. All right. What a mess. All right, so there you go. There is foam down there on that bottom side, so there is a little bit of protection on the bottom if you drop it. And of course you have foam on the top and then foam around the sides. All right, so there you go. The cells are actually sitting sideways. So that means this side over here was the bottom. All right, I was getting ready to rip this apart, but before I do, I need to do the temperature protection. So I only see 2 temperature probes coming down. They both go to this point right here. I would imagine there's probably one, you know, underneath this plate inside the BMS, but honestly, I don't know where it is, and I don't know if I would be able to test it. So what we're gonna do is just test these 2 right here. Let me get those up real quick. Of course, I'm not prepared at all. Put the negative right over here. Let me turn this down real quick, and I'll go right here. All right, we're gonna test the low temperature protection. Right now we're sitting at 13.2 volts. Let me raise the amps so we are charging. We'll just put like, I don't know, 5 or 6 amps on there. And I'm just gonna spray these 2 probes right here and see what happens. There it goes. So it does work, just FYI. So it did cut charging as it's supposed to do. Let me warm it up and we'll see if it starts charging again. There it goes. Now we're charging again. So low temperature protection does work, which is fan-freaking-tastic. All right, let me get this out of the way. Okie dokie, let's take a closer look. Alrighty, so on top of the battery, we could start with the wires here. We have 1 wire for the positive. It is 6 AWG. It's silicone insulation rated for 200 degrees C, and those are crimped connections. And we have the nylon lock style nut on the top. The lug is directly on the cell, which is exactly what you want. We have the balance wires, you know, neatly routed and protected with the spiral plastic wrap. Everything's actually really nice and neat. We got some big ass bus bars. I would say these are probably aluminum. They scratch like aluminum. If we take a look at the cells, all right, so if I scan the cell, they're EVE cells, lithium iron phosphate, of course, LF 100, 100 amp hour, 320 watt hours. Production date was 6/1/2022. Actually, they sent me this battery roughly around that time. I just, of course, didn't get to it. Factory task, I don't know what all this other stuff is. So they are genuine cells, which is fan-freaking-tastic. All right, so the top looks really good, and we're stuck to the table. They do have foam in between each cell for a separation. And of course, we are wrapped in tape twice, and it does have that, I'm not sure what that stuff is, but it makes it extra strong. There you go. The balance wires wrap around to the side of the battery and then go up right up into the BMS right up on top. Here's those two temperature sensors that we tested earlier. Both of those are glued down with that silicone style glue, all right? So that's good. Up on top of the battery, we got 4 negative leads. Again, 10 AWG wire, and those are bolted down. Same with this side right over here. Again, those are all crimped connections, even these small ones. So that's exactly what you want. You do not want soldered connections. Let me zoom in right over here because there's a part number for the BMS if you care. Part number PCM-L05S100G23, and then there's an A1. I'm not sure what any of that stuff means. All in all, I would say this battery is fan-freaking-tastic, and I don't really see even damage from whenever we drop the cell a bunch of times. There's the side or the bottom. Oh, I mean, maybe we do have a little bit of, it's kind of hard to see. This cell right here might have had some damage from me dropping it. It does look like it's kind of bulged out right there, you know, from one of the corner drops. But honestly, it's not bad at all. Yeah, I think we might have damaged that cell just a little bit, but I don't think it's damaged enough to not use it. I would still use it. Matter of fact, I'll probably still use it. Yeah, I don't think we did anything wrong at all, other than that little tiny ding on the side. I mean, even the sides right here, you know, they're not bulging or anything. I would say this is a fantastic build. Great job. Fantastic job. I don't know, do we really need to take these apart? I mean, we can, but I don't think we actually need to. All right, there you go. I would say this is a fan-freaking-tastic battery and build and construction. All right, I think we might as well just take it apart since we're already down here. All right, so here we go. This one was positive. This one do 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's negative. Okay, that way I can put it back together if I need to. All right, here goes. All right, it's connected. Get in here. You want to know the thickness of the bus bars? They are 1.94 millimeters thick. Ooh. All right, well, I don't know if I can get those apart. Just had a thought. I'm going to see if I can't, you know, cut through that like a slice of cheese with a string. Oh, you know what else we could do while we're here? Is we need to pull off one of these top covers here and see if there's anything hidden. Oh, that. All right, there is one more QR code right here, but I think that's just the date of manufacturer code. Yep, that's it. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think this is just the date of manufacturer code. So there's nothing hidden under there, so that's good. Oh, that is working. Got it. There we go. All right, so this is the damaged cell. All right, there you go. Now you can see it a little bit better, maybe. So it's just a little bit of a bulge right there. Other than that, I think that's it. Everything else looks pretty darn good to me. All right, well, in my opinion, I would say this battery is fan-freaking-tastic. It's got a great build, it's got great batteries inside, everything works. I mean, it survived quite a few falls before I just randomly threw it or dropped it. I would say fantastic build, fantastic battery, fantastic construction, everything works. Great battery. All right, there you go. And just to make this ending short and sweet and to the point, I'm just gonna say I like this battery. I think it was fan-freaking-tastic. It's got some great cells in it. It handled way better than I thought it would in the drop test for sure. I thought this thing's gonna break apart immediately, and it didn't. I think we did, what, 5 tests on it, and it handled it pretty good. And honestly, you probably shouldn't use the battery after it's been cracked open, you know, but I'm not gonna tell you what you can and can't do. Obviously, you have to make that judgment for yourself. Anyway, I think this battery is fan-freaking-tastic. I don't really know what else to say. The only negative thing I could come up with is you can't connect to it with Bluetooth, which I think they do offer. They're just out of those at the current moment. Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing I can think of that would be negative. Oh, I guess if I could add one thing to this battery minus the Bluetooth connectivity would be a little more foam, you know, in the bottom of the case. But I mean, how much foam? I don't know. All right, yeah, well, that's pretty much all I got. If anybody's interested in this battery, you can get it from Amazon and their website. If you go to their website, they did give me a code of Joe15. I think it's $15 off, or just click on the link down below. Don't worry, it's not affiliate or anything like that. I don't get any extra money or anything like that. It's just $15 off for you guys. But if you go there through the Amazon link, that one will be an affiliate link. All right, that's pretty much all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any, questions, comments, or concerns, definitely put those down below. If I tested something that you're not, completely satisfied with, well, I destroyed the battery, so I can't really change it. However, for a future video, maybe I can do it then. Don't forget to like that smash button if you can find it, and I will see you on the next one. Oh, I gotta turn on this. All right, that's it. That's all we needed. Good job, thank you. I'll pay you later in treats, okay? Damn, I don't know if I hit the record button on this camera or not. I can't really say. Hopefully it stays recording. Is this painful to watch? I hope so.